My name is Angela Tucker, and I directed the piece Invisible Men, Gregory's story. I want to give a shout out to the Arts Engine crew who's all here. In fact, I work at Arts Engine, and I made this piece for the National Black Programming Consortium's Masculinity Project, which is an online place where you can see lots of different shorts about what it means to be a black man in America. I work with this organization called Common Ground, and they have a program called Street to Home, and they place sort of formerly homeless men and women in homes. And my friend Kim Gittens, who's here, introduced me to Gregory, who's featured in this piece.
There's going to be kind of a new shelter population. Like a lot of the shelter people now, kind of intermittently homeless, maybe low-income workers, because of the economy, people losing their houses. Not everyone's going to be able to get like foreclosure assistance or something like that, especially if you live in an apartment. So the shelter population is going to change to more kind of working middle class people, and I believe that will be a time for them to look at especially the workfare part of public assistance, which is BS. I mean, someone who had like an $85,000 or $40,000 job is not going to like sweep up parts, right? So they're going to be forced to change how they distribute web assignments. I think it could be a very powerful experience in terms of really shifting the way the city does things. But
in what spaces are these like conversations and like restructuring happening? Is it like happening in public spaces? Oh, really?
It's happening as far as I can understand, at the DHS level, Department of Homeless Services.
And there's no way for like community. Is there any like?
Well, you know, since I really have no idea. I'm just based on I've been working with the homeless for 6 years, so this is my observation. I was homeless as well. This is based on my observation and what I know. I don't know where these conversations are happening outside of DHS. You know, our administrative staff goes to DHS meetings, they come back, stuff happens, they tell us about some of it, maybe not all of it for whatever reason. Some of it we hear through the pipeline. I don't know where these conversations are happening. I think also Obama just released some money for the homeless, I think maybe nationally, so maybe DHS is going to get some money. Our local DHS is going to get some money. I don't know what that's going to look like. So it's changing.
I mean, I knew I wanted to make something that was experimental, and I wanted it to be beautiful, and I wanted, to show kind of different parts of his life. And I also wanted to first I met him and I hung out with him, and then we filmed all of this stuff afterwards. So we took things that he said and went out and tried to find images that corresponded with the things that he said, and allowed you, and held the shots for a really long time so you could really listen to the words that he was saying. We got a lot of the audio in his house, and I like that, it's just kind of rough audio and that you can hear what's happening in his house, and it's because it was just kind of us sitting in his apartment. I just think he's such an amazing guy, and he tells his stories he was very open with his story, and that's something that's just really great about him, and you respond to that about him. I mean, he has sort of a poetic nature too. He tells his stories in a poetic way, and so I really lucked out. I mean, I lucked out with sort of getting the help of Kim and Common Ground, but I also lucked out in, but I also lucked out in, finding Gregory, and also the guy that I worked with, Anshuman, who shot the piece, is just, he's an amazing shooter, and he was just somebody that I could just sort of tell him what I wanted it to look like, and you can't see Super 8, so you have to trust the person you're working with, because you can't watch what he's doing. So you just have to say, okay, so I want water, and I want it to look, and you just have to hope that it's going to look okay. So it was better than I ever could have imagined. So